How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Leonard Fournette has been cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars and can be claimed on waivers within the next 24 hours before becoming a free agent. He's destined to see his NFL career continue somewhere, so will it happen in Chicago? Today, in episode number 73 of Uncut, we're going to be discussing the opportunity of Leonard Fournette coming to Chicago to create what some would call a three-headed monster of running backs. If you are new to the channel and want Bears content every day of the week, do us a favor and subscribe. We just hit 2,000 subscribers. We're getting pretty close to 2,100 subs. You guys have been killing the support recently. We really appreciate it. And if you are returning to the channel, do us a favor. Click the bell if you haven't already to get notifications when we post, and drop a like because it helps us a lot. I am your host, Chris Malpe, and today I'm joined with my co-hosts Parth and Jaylen McClinton on a busy Monday morning. How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good. Had a little early class at 8 a.m. today. Those are always the worst, but here we are recording another video for you guys. You guys have been killing it on the support, like Chris said, and let's talk some more Bears football here.
Yeah, same here. I had a couple, early classes today, but those got ended at around like 12, so I just been playing Madden. Chris said, let's do a video, and I'm down.
Absolutely. You guys have absolutely been killing the support recently. Almost 23,000 views the last 28 days, and we're also 8 subscribers away from 2,100. So if you want content every day of the week, we're going to keep putting it out. So be sure to subscribe and join the ride. So obviously, guys, we know Leonard Fournette was cut this morning. He's got 24 hours on waivers. He's got 1 year left in his deal, worth $4.167 million guaranteed. But Fournette's skills really do justify interest, along with the chance to contribute to a team. Looking at him last year, he had 1,152 rushing yards, also 522 receiving yards. He's an effective between the tackles runner, and he's got pretty good size and power. He's not a Jordan Howard type runner where when he starts getting downhill, he can gas out early. He's got the speed to take it all the way to the end zone, which is also something that's really attractive about him. So before we talk about him specifically, we've been talking about David Montgomery for some time now. Obviously, he goes down with a groin strain last week, which obviously was unfortunate. But it looks like he's going to be doubtful for week 1 and might also miss week 2 as well. Bringing in someone like Fournette would not only give the Bears, and as bad as this sounds, it would give the Bears an opportunity to maybe look at offers for Tariq Cohen, who's approaching a contract year. Also would be able to let the Bears and John Defilippo, someone who was Fournette's offensive coordinator last year and knows whether or not he's a good fit for this offense, be able to scheme the run game how he wants. The Bears have had some trouble with it in the past, and Fournette's a grizzled veteran, a former first-round pick who could come into Chicago and be able to provide some very good run game, a very good heavy dose of the run game alongside David Montgomery. So I want to ask you guys, before we talk about Fournette specifically, do you think the Bears need to bring in a replacement running back, regardless of what happens with Montgomery? Parth, we'll start with you.
I do. If David Montgomery is gone, he was our workhorse back last year, and then we're left with guys like Tariq Cohen, Ryan Nall, and Napoleon Maxwell and Artavius Pierce. Most Bears fans probably even haven't heard of the last two if you don't keep up with football as much. So, we're kind of thin at running back. Tariq Cohen is not an every down running back at all. Ryan Nall has had like 2 carries in his whole entire stint here in Chicago, and the other 2 guys are undrafted rookies. So if we don't bring in a running back, it's going to be a little shaky, especially with how poor the quarterback play can become at times here in Chicago. And we know this offense line isn't the greatest. So if the Bears don't bring in a running back, this offense could get worse, which I don't know how that could happen. But, that's a huge possibility.
Yeah, if you look at some of the other options available at the running back position, Devontae Freeman, someone who stands out, 28 years old still. Isaiah Crowell at 27. Spencer Ware, someone who came from Kansas City, knows Matt Nagy's offense well, at 28. And then also you got to look at C.J. Prosise, who's only 26 years old, who the Bears just worked out. So, Jaylen, I'm going to pass it to you now. Without naming names, do you think the Bears should look to bring in another running back? Obviously, we know Tariq Cohen's future in Chicago is definitely up for debate.
Personally, for me, I wouldn't bring any running back. The season is less than 2 weeks away, and we would have to sign that running back, make sure he's healthy, and then if it's not a running back that's familiar with the system, they would have to learn the playbook and stuff like that. With barely any time left for the season, I don't think it would be smart for us to bring in a running back just to replace David Montgomery for the time he was gone. Unless we're bringing a running back that's going to be here, longer than just a couple games, I don't see it being really a big need.
Makes sense. And honestly, heading back to Fournette, you said that it needs to be someone that's familiar with the system, and that's why Spencer Ware is someone who stands out to me personally. But looking at Fournette, I mean, he does have that familiarity with John Defilippo. Obviously, it's Nagy's offense that we're running, but Defilippo is the quarterback's coach here, and I'm sure a spin of what he wants to do goes into it, at least in the passing game, and Fournette would be a little bit familiar with that. But Fournette ends a 3-year run in Jacksonville after being the 4th overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft. It was really a tumultuous run for him where he had 2,631 rushing yards and 17 total touchdowns. The Jaguars did end up picking up his 5th-year option, actively pursued a trade without receiving any serious offers for him. But look, he's a player that's productive, and we can't really turn that down. Just look at his 2019 season when many people didn't think he was still productive. He accounted for nearly 31% of the team's yards last season, a career-high 1,152 rushing yards and 76 receptions. As far as that percent of team scrimmage yards goes, he only falls behind Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey in that category, and you can't turn down production, especially when he's 25 years old. He's a player who can break tackles, similarly to David Montgomery. He's probably got a little bit more speed, and I think he's a player who still has a lot to prove in this league. And personally, I would love to see the Bears bring him in. There's a lot of waiving or a lot of landing spots for him personally, but the Bears definitely one that stands out to me in regards to where he could fall. It just depends on what John Defilippo is saying to the front office right now. Defilippo's obviously here to be a quarterback's coach. We got Nick Foles, his former quarterback, for a year, even though it didn't last long in Jacksonville here. And if you look at the betting odds on Bovada for where he's going to land, the Bears have the best odds with plus 265. So I say go for it. I don't think he's going to need a lot of money. A lot of people think he's going to be someone who's going to ask for a lot of cash, but you got to think that the Jacksonville Jaguars couldn't get a single pick, even a late round or conditional one for him, and there was no other choice for them. So I think Fournette is looking for any opportunity to play, and not only do I think he could be the bell cow back for the first quarter of the season in Chicago, but he could also prove to be a player who could create a great two-headed monster, especially if Tariq Cohen isn't in Chicago past 2021. So that's my justification for it. I think it would be a good move, and I think the Bears should pull the trigger on it as long as all things work out money-wise. So, Parth, what do you think? Do you think the Bears should look to bring in Leonard Fournette?
I think the Bears should definitely pick him up. He's a workhorse back. He had over 70 receptions last year for 522 yards. He had 1,100 rushing yards, like a little bit over 1,100. He's a workhorse back, something the Bears need desperately, especially with Montgomery down. You can't expect Tariq Cohen or Cordero Patterson to step in that role. Ryan Nall, those guys don't have much experience to be running back one at all. And we don't know how long Montgomery could be out for. It could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And he could re-injure.
Could be 2 weeks for all we know. But you don't want to rush him back into it, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I don't want to rush him back, especially because he is the young rookie back, second-year back. So you don't want to rush him back, especially. And, if there's a guy that was a first-round pick in 2017 out on the market, and you can probably sign him at like a $5.5, $6 million a year per contract, I think the Bears should easily be able to do it. We do have the best odds, like you said. It'll just be interesting to see if Matt Nagy believes he fits in the system. He didn't believe Jordan Howard did. He shipped him off for a 6th-round pick, which was questionable to say the least. But I think
that's Fournette, the running back market these days. Yeah.
And then Fournette did improve as a pass catcher last year, so I think that shows a lot of surprises and hints that the Bears should look at it, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. I mean, you look at Fournette's receiving game last year, and it really took off. Only had 58 catches in his first two seasons when he was out there in 2017 scoring 90-yard touchdowns. But last year, he really took off as a receiving back with 76 catches for 522 yards. That's almost 7 yards per catch. 0 touchdowns, but it still proves that he's able to be a good receiving back, which is something the Bears definitely need. I mean, obviously, you've got Cohen, but you need someone else that can catch the ball. That was the complaint about Jordan Howard when he used to be the running back one. And Fournette had his most touches last year. He played in 15 games, 1,674 yards from scrimmage. Only 3 touchdowns, so a little bit of a down year for him, but 4.9 yards per touch. Can't really complain about it. He's played in 36 career games in 3 seasons, so just over 2 seasons worth of games. He only played in half the games in 2018, but definitely an intriguing option for me. Caught 76% of balls thrown his way. I think as long as they think he can fit in his offense, I think we'll be able to get him for a nice price. So, Jaylen, what do you think? Do you think the Bears should look to bring in Leonard Fournette?
I'm gonna only say no because since he's on waivers, like a team based on the draft order, it's 18 teams in front of us that's gonna probably put in a claim for him before we even get a chance to. So I'm only just say no based off that. But if he do clear his waivers and we have a chance to sign him, I wouldn't be opposed to it. That if we sign Leonard Fournette, that means Pace is looking for him to be on the team, for a couple years and not just this season. So I wouldn't be opposed to that. David Montgomery, Leonard Fournette backfield would definitely be something I'll be into.
Yeah, you would think that if the Bears somehow did bring in Fournette, it might be the end of Tariq Cohen in Chicago, but that's definitely a duo that I would love to see in the future, and I think it'd be very productive if we worked it kind of like the 49ers do with Mostert and such. So it's interesting. Leave in the comments down below if you think the Bears should sign Leonard Fournette. We're interested to hear what you guys have to say. But thank you so much for tuning into episode number 73 of Uncut. If you want more content from us, you can head over to beareddown.com. You can find columns, articles, and blogs up there basically every other day now, and we're going to continue to get more stuff up there as the season rolls around. Definitely going to have an article up soon from one of our writers on some more stuff from Fournette, so look out for that. If you want to see sneak peeks of podcasts, help us think of ideas to record about, or just see some more great content, find out about giveaways we're having. We just gave away a Bears jersey last night. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Beared Down. You can also find the links to me, Parth, and Jaylen's fan pages down in the description. Those are some great follows as well. Guys, this seems like it's all going to come down to if another team wants to pay that about $4.25 million salary before the Bears do. But Parth Shaw, Jaylen McClinton, any last words before we sign off here?
I really hope the Bears sign Leonard Fournette. As soon as I saw he got cut, I sent the group chat like, "Yo, the Bears got to get him," because if we sign Fournette, it'll help Nick Foles / Mitchell Trubisky out, whoever's at quarterback. We need a running game. Last year, the running game wasn't great. And I'm a lot of fans will probably say this takes away carries from Montgomery, but I feel like Montgomery has a long way to go. Last year we saw some flashes, but if Fournette can come in and those two can help each other out, balance the offense, something like Cleveland does with Kareem and Nick Chubb, and the 49ers do as well, like Chris mentioned before, I think it'd be a fun tandem to see.
Yeah, same. Like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to it if we did bring him in. But other than that, bear down, and season's coming up soon. I can't wait.
Yeah, we all see how much, or at least how this injury is flustering the Bears in regards to David Montgomery right before the season starts, and it's definitely risky taking a shot on Fournette. We know he's had a little bit of an injury history in the past, but that being said, if we can get him for the right price, if we can get the opportunity to snag him, I think it's absolutely worth it. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. Thank you guys for the incredible support recently. We're going to keep getting videos out to you every single day. As long as you guys keep up the support, it really keeps us motivated. So Bears fans, do us a favor, stay safe, and as always, bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.